Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so I see Kerry says, okay, I'm here to learn more about the stock market. I got some money in the stock. I really do not know how to go about finding what a good stock is. Okay, okay, good, good, good. All right, let's see here. Kendall says, I just bought Dr. Anderson's package of books. How does this compare? Dr. Anderson's books are different in the sense that Dr. Anderson gives you very important big picture ideas on why, how to play the wealth game as a group, what Powernomics means, what it means to own and control assets, and why that's important for Black people. What Dr. Anderson's books don't do yet is they don't give you the specifics on exactly how to move forward on an individual level. Dr. Anderson is the kind of guy who's a great guy. He comes on my podcast once a week. Dr. Anderson's the kind of guy where he can tell you, how we as a group, 40 million people can get ahead of the rest of the world, right? The difference is that Dr. Anderson, our philosophies differ slightly in the sense that, I talk about the family and the individual and what you can do as a family to move your family ahead. And because I'm not a big believer that everybody's going to get on the same page anytime soon. I kind of feel like there's so much weight against us. There's so much negative information out there. So many people saying things that just don't make any sense that it's going to be hard to get everybody going in the same direction. So that's kind of the difference. But I think that his books are the first books you should read so you can understand the big picture, the why. Like, why are you as a Black person seeking to build wealth? I'm not going to, I'm not really the guy, honestly. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your wealth or why you should like it, but I'm not here teaching you this because I want you to be able to go out and buy a Bentley and a bunch of Gucci. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's up to you. But I don't think that's going to fulfill you. I think what's going to fulfill you is freedom. What's going to fulfill you is power. What's going to fulfill you is just racial pride, just pride in being Black, knowing that we can build institutions and empires and the things that everybody else builds instead of feeling like we're kind of being kicked around a lot, right? So that's probably what I would say is the biggest difference, right? So all right, so let's get started here. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about tonight, let me see here, hold on. Okay, I see John Womack says, I looked at all the slides and lectures. Were those just bonuses? Actually, those slides and lectures, John, those are actually the lectures that we're going to do in the masterclass. Now, the benefit is that now we're going to go through that stuff live. What I did was I gave you guys access to the recordings from last time. So if you've actually gone through everything, you're actually eligible to get your certificate now. If you want to, if you want to just go ahead and do that, you can, and then just do the Q&A section. But I find that going through this stuff more than once is beneficial. And actually, you'd be amazed how just going through those 6 lectures you've gone through and understanding everything there will pretty much put you exactly where you want to be as an investor. There's really not anything else, honestly, that that needs to happen. So these, I wouldn't call them bonuses, but I would say that that's pretty much what you need to get started. Okay, so let's see here. Sparkle says, should I be concerned if the stock market crashes again? We're going to talk about that, but the answer is no. People are trying to discourage me about the stock investments. No, here's the thing about the stock. Consider this to be the first discussion we have on the topic. The stock market crashes all the time. It's going to keep crashing. It's crashed a million times before. It always crashes. That's like the stock market crashing or the stock market dropping. It's almost like, snow or rain coming down outside. It's always going to rain. It's always going to snow. Now every now and then you may have Hurricane Katrina come through. But you can even come back from Hurricane Katrina. Even Hurricane Katrina, for some people, I'm sure there are people who became millionaires capitalizing from the devastation of Hurricane Katrina, which obviously is not ethical for clear reasons. But there's opportunities to build wealth in any situation. There's opportunities to build wealth in the midst of prosperity. There's opportunities to build wealth in the midst of chaos and disaster. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on earth, built most of his wealth in the middle of chaos and disaster. He built most of his wealth when the market was not doing well. He built most of his wealth from companies that were struggling, right? So that's probably the first thing I would say that you want to understand is that, putting your money into a good company isn't always the best investment. Sometimes a bad company is the best investment. Let's see here. What should I tell them to get them off my back? Don't tell them anything. Don't try to uplift ignorant people. I would just say go out and succeed. And then what they're going to do is they're going to learn from you. And at some point when they come and ask to borrow money from you, you can then start preaching then, because money is power, individually and collectively. So if you are, think about, when you have that job and you're working for that white guy, you may not even like him, but you're going to respect him if he's the one paying your bills, right? So ultimately, once you have wealth built and you are in a position where you're doing well financially and other people aren't, and they're asking you for their help, then you get to call the shots. You get to, you get to decide the terms of engagement. Let's see, how do you compare Vlad TV's stock series and Martin Shkreli? I don't know Martin Shkreli. I think that Vlad TV Vlad is a guy that does that talks about stocks in a way where I think that he thinks he knows more than he does. I think that what happens is when the market does really well, something kicks in called, basically, simple concept, investor overconfidence. Investor overconfidence is when everybody thinks they're a stock expert. Everybody thinks that they know how to pick the right stock at the right time. Why? Well, because there's a million stocks out there that are good. It's like a guy who goes into a club and there's like 10 women for every man, and he suddenly thinks he's the player. He thinks that he's the hottest thing in the world, but he ain't never really had to compete for a woman. So he probably has a biased assessment of what his true market value is as a man, right? Or on the dating scene. Right, but he thinks he's the most handsome thing in the world, maybe because of factors that he can't really control, right? Factors that he thinks he controls, but he doesn't really control. And so there's another a term for that. They call that self-attribution bias. Self-attribution bias is when you give yourself credit for things that go well, but you give other people blame when things go bad. Like, for example, notice how people talk about their favorite sports teams. If their favorite sports team wins, what do they say? They say, we won, right? But when the team lost, you say, well, what happened in the game? They say, oh, they lost, right? And we don't even notice that we do it, but most people do that. Most people actually, if you pay attention, ask them, go try it out one day and watch how people react to their favorite team. When they lose, they'll say they lost. But when they win, they'll say we won, right? So anyway, there you go. So what's the podcast Dan Time Dr. Edison's on? It's drboystv.com. He comes on every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you can go watch the recordings. If you just type our names into YouTube, you can go find the videos. Let's see here. Should review a previously recorded lecture prior to next Tuesday? No. All those lectures are there just because I record everything for this program, so that if you if you want to watch it later, or you want to watch it with your family or bring your kids, I think it's great when you let your kids watch this stuff, because I'm telling you, you get your kids exposed to a college professor at the age of like 7 or 8, and they're learning business at 7 or 8 years old. They're going to be so far ahead of the curve, it's going to be ridiculous. That child is going to take that information and they're going to be a freaking superstar. It's like Steph Curry became the greatest basketball player, one of the greatest basketball players in the world, because his father had him playing basketball when he was 2. Him and his brother Steven. Dell Curry was their father. He was an NBA player. He had them dribbling basketballs when they were 2. So now they're extraordinary basketball players. Tiger Woods picked up a golf club when he was in diapers. Serena and Venus started playing tennis when they were very young. Michael Jackson was dancing and singing at the age of 3 or 4 years old. So if you get your child singing and dancing to the beat of an economic rhythm and understanding investing and wealth and everything else, they are going to be so successful. It's ridiculous. They're going to be so far ahead of everybody else, because most Americans that really struggle economically, if you test them, you give them a financial test, a lot of them don't even know the basics of where money comes from, how to invest, what that even means, what that looks like. So let's see here. Wes Du Bois, thanks for pressing the importance of our people having this knowledge. Dr. Boyce, I'm new to investing. I was wondering if you suggest getting any supplemental material on the basis of investing to study up in tandem with this course. I would say go through the lectures, Wes, and I would let that be that, like, maybe print out the slides if you want to. We have other stuff. It depends on how you feel about it, but in terms of things that we have, if you go to blackfinancialintelligence.com, that's our bookstore for the Black Business School. We've got a lot of things there. Blackfinancialintelligence.com. There are lots of digital lectures. There are books. You guys know about our workbooks for kids. We have all the grade bands covered. We put these together with Black experts, so you can check these out at I think financialworkbooks.com. That's where there's a bundle package you can get at financialworkbooks.com. And I would just take time. Just take the time. Read financial publications every day. Watch videos on it, and focus on the basics. Do not feel that you have to just understand everything through and through to the end of the earth, because that'll be overwhelming. I'm going to show you in this class, in this master class, how to basically master the basics, the fundamentals, right? Why can I say this? Well, because I've been to the mountaintop when it comes to financial understanding, financial theory. I have done math that will make your head explode. I have sat in front of the biggest equations imaginable and tried to figure them out. And so I've seen what's all the way up there at the top. And when you get to the top, you get a different view. You can look down and you can look around and see what was important and what isn't important, right? Which is very different from somebody who only knows the basics. Because if you only know the basics, you always think that there's more up there, and there is more up there. But what I found is that I said, oh, I get it. So there's like these 3 or 4 fundamental things. If you understand these 3 or 4 things, you don't have to really know what's up there, right? So I've been up there. I went up there for you. And now that I've gone up there, I'm going to come back down and we're going to start at the very basics. And literally, you're probably going to get mad at me at times. If you need things to be overly complex, you may get mad at me, because sometimes I'm literally going to teach you things that your children can understand. But that's because I understand how this works and I understand the key pieces of information that are necessary for you to internalize, for you to be a solid investor. Okay. I'm going to answer 2 more questions and we're going to get started. Let's see. I'm excited to learn, says Richard. Will I be able to pass my learning to my kids, or will terminology in this class not relate? You will be able to pass this to your kids, Richard. I guarantee you. I will show you how to do that. Actually, one of the lectures is called How to Turn Your Child into a Millionaire. We're going to cover that. And basically, I'll give you the basic steps necessary to virtually guarantee. They will guarantee that your children will not have financial problems when they hit 25, 30 years old. That I can guarantee. The millionaire part, I can almost guarantee, meaning that a lot of your kids will become millionaires if you do what I tell you. Some of your kids may not, but it doesn't matter. Who cares if you're a millionaire or not if you've got $500,000 in liquid assets in the bank? Think about it. Imagine being 28 years old and your parents are like, here, 28 back in 2019, it's the year 2049, 30 years from now, let's say. And you're telling your kids, like, look, 30 years ago, I took this class from a guy named Dr. Boyce Watkins. He's old now or he's dead now. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, right? But I took this class and he told me to do this, this, and this. I did these things and I planted these seeds. Now I can pass this on to you. And now your life will be free for you to be able to live the life that you want. You truly can live your best life because you don't have to worry about money anymore. You do not have to be a slave in order to pay your rent anymore. That's huge in terms of being able to really get past money. So you learn money and you make money so that you don't have to think about money. At least that's the way I look at it, right? You make enough money where money's not a factor, where a decision can be made and it doesn't have to be made based on money. Money is no longer a barrier. Like do I go on vacation? Do I want to go to Africa or China or Spain? Money's not a deciding factor in which country I go to because I can afford to do them all. On Tuesday, do I spend time with my sick mother? Do I take the kids to the park, or do I stay at home and rest? I can do all 3. Why? Well, because money is not a factor in my decision making anymore. I don't have to make any particular decision because of the financial constraint. How many times do you see people say, I'd like to do this, but I can't because I got to go to work? Or I'd like to do this, but I can't because I can't afford it, right? It's amazing to me that we don't realize this, how much time, how much of a chunk of our life we devote to being at a job, like how much time we put into working. Like literally, if you ask people, if you see somebody you haven't seen for a long time, you say, so what you been doing? How you been? Where you been at? They'll say, oh, nothing, just working. I'm just tired. I've been working all the time. Right? That's what they say all the time. But think about that. That translates to, yeah, I've been wasting my life. I've been doing this task that means nothing to me except for the fact that it helps me pay my bills, because slavery is all that I was ever taught to do. Well, I think that your kids deserve a better life. And I will give you, in fact, I am so confident that I will give you this in this masterclass, the tools to solve this problem. I'm so confident that if you don't feel that I've given you those tools, then I really want you to email the support team and get all your money back. Universities don't give money back guarantees. We do. If you're not happy, if you're not walking around, if you're not jumping up and down and telling everybody how great it was, then I want you to go get your money back because I failed you. But I know exactly what you need to do. And I think that if you can go with me and visualize, 25, 30 years down the line, then you can have a child that truly gets to live the life they want to live, and they're not stressed out over money. They're not having to pass up important things they have to do over money. And I'll say this, and then I'm going to stop and we're going to get started on the lecture itself. But I had a friend who she's seen what I do, right? She saw me in the beginning of my career. She saw the adjustments over time, and she kind of watched it. And she was, I think she kind of saw me a little bit, almost like maybe if you have a friend that keeps telling you to become a vegan and you don't want to, but you're watching them like lose weight and get in all this great shape, and you're like, I'd like to do it, but I just haven't got around to it. It was kind of like that. Or maybe a preacher, where every time you see the preacher, you're a little nervous because you ain't been to church, right? I think she saw me like that, like maybe almost the way you look at your pastor or something. And but one day she said to me, she said, Boyce, I've always listened to what you said. I've always respected it. I just never did it. And because I never really pushed myself to do it. She said, but I think I'm ready. And the reason I'm ready is because when my mother was dying, her mother had cancer and she had 9 months to live. And she said, what really hit me was when I wanted to spend as much time as I could before my mother left this earth. I wanted to spend as much time with her as I could before she died. And I couldn't, because my job told me that if I didn't come to work, I was going to lose my job. So I had to spend less time with my sick, dying mother because I had to go to this damn job. And to me, that's what it's all about. It can be about whatever it is for you. But I think if you look at things like that, just how economic management and control and power affects your daily life, I think you'll see the value in what I'm talking about here. Okay, so let me keep going. Last question. John Womack says, what would be the best class to take after we complete this course to build on what we learned here? Well, we have a whole Black Money sequence in the Black Business School. We have Black Money 101, 102, 103, 104, all the way up to 106. And it gives you all the learning you need to cover all the key areas, stock market investing, the basics of money, real estate. Even 104 is a class on how to buy a franchise. Franchises are excellent investment opportunities because franchises are business models in a box. Like the company's already done the hard work. They've already figured out how to make the business model work. And so they give you the instructions, and you can then set it up and go according to the instructions and run a franchise. So we actually have a class on franchising. We have a class on business processes and systems. So ultimately 101 through 106 is what you may want to look at. And if you're not sure, you can just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. They can kind of look at your stuff and get you started. We're actually starting to bring in what we call conversational enrollment specialists who can actually call you on the phone and talk to you as well. So either way, and we'll work with your budget. If money is not the reason that we do this, we have to charge something so we can pay our bills and pay our people and everything else. But really, we just want you to get what you need. And so we just hope you'll consider us, give Blackness a try, give your people a try, because we know what you get from the other universities, right? We would just like for you to try our university because we've actually got some really good specialists who really care about you and your long-term success. And the first way we show we care about you is we don't leave you in debt. Nobody who cares about you educationally, in my opinion, is going to leave you $80,000 in debt. When you go out and get a $40,000 a year job, that's not going to put you in a good position. Okay. So, all right. So